Getting perfect armor and tools in Minecraft 1.19 is definitely a good idea, but what are the best enchantments for every item? Find out in this video. This is basically a reference video where I go through every single item and say all the best enchantments you'll want for it, or maybe some alternative enchantments you'll want. I'll have every single item on the chapters below, and you can refer to those to find out the exact item you want to know what has the best enchantments for. So for instance, if you wanted to enchant a crossbow and a helmet, you could simply go to the chapters and find the chapters for that, or you can watch the entire video. Alright, so I have every single enchantable item laid out here, and any alternative enchantments you may want to do. I also have every single piece of armor laid out here, and any alternative enchantments you'd want to do, like for instance the 3 chest plates here. We will start off with armor. What is the best enchantments for the golden boots? So for the golden boots, you want to add to it Unbreaking 3. You'll want to add Fire Protection 4, as well as Mending. Now of course the use of the golden boots in this scenario would be for piglin trading or dealing with piglins. Overall just an item you can use in the nether. You could also do leggings for this if you want, and I would generally suggest the exact same enchantments. Soul speed can work, but with a gold item it wears down very quickly. So generally gold boots and leggings with Unbreaking 3, Fire Protection 4 and Mending are perfect for trading with piglins. Next we have the Elytra. What are the perfect enchantments for this? Well, there's only really 2 good enchantments you can put on Elytra, and that is Unbreaking 3 and Mending. So you'll want to put both of those on your Elytra, and there you go. Of course the Unbreaking 3 will make it last longer, up to 30 minutes of flight, and the Mending will make it so that you can easily repair it, especially since it doesn't have a lot of durability, you can repair it very quickly. And overall I would say if there's any item you can enchant with books, you'll definitely want to do the Elytra. Now for the turtle shell helmet, what you'll want to do is you'll want to give it Protection 4, you'll want Unbreaking 3, you will want Respiration 3, and combined with the turtle shell effects that's incredibly effective. You'll want Aqua Affinity, you'll also want the Mending enchantment, and finish it up with Thorns 3 if you want something perfect, but oftentimes this ends up being too expensive. However, if you want the perfect one, you'll have to do Thorns 3. Now to avoid this too expensive message, you want to start by putting this into the enchantment table, get yourself maybe some lucky enchantments on there, and then go on, because the less times you enchant this, of course, the less chance you'll go up to too expensive. And so on any items where we end up going to too expensive, you want to do that, put it in the enchantment table first, see what you can get, and then only if you're lucky can you get the perfect item. But anyway, that's what you get with the turtle shell helmet. Next we have the helmet, which of course can be netherite or any other item, but generally of course diamond or netherite. What is the perfect helmet in Minecraft? And also of course with all these items, it doesn't actually matter the order that you put these enchantments on, just that it's generally good to put the item in the enchantment table first. So for the netherite helmet, you want Protection 4, you also want Respiration 3, you'll want Aqua Affinity, you will also want Unbreaking 3, you'll want Mending, and we can also get on Thorns if we had put that into the enchantment table first. And that has the exact same perfect enchantments on it that the turtle shell helmet does. So for the netherite chest plate, we have 3 options, but I'll start with the ones that you'll want no matter what. You will want Unbreaking 3, you will want Mending, and you will probably want Thorns. And in fact, on every single piece of armor, the thing with Thorns is basically if you're dealing with villagers, zombifying villagers, you do not want Thorns, but in almost any other scenario, Thorns is a pretty good enchantment to have. So once we have those on, we can pick one type of protection. Now you could just go with Protection 4, but the way that enchantments on armor work and stack the effects of, you actually want a specialized protection on your chest plate. So we could do Projectile Protection 4, Fire Protection 4, or Blast Protection 4, whichever one you want. I would generally say if you're dealing with the nether kind of things, go with Fire Protection, Projectile Protection if you're maybe fighting mobs at night, skeletons, caving, things like that, and Blast Protection 4 if you're dealing with creepers and withers, although also Projectile Protection will help you with withers, but generally it doesn't matter too much, just something that you might think you'll run into more than anything else. So we'll go with Fire Protection on here. And that is the perfect netherite chest plate. Now for the perfect pair of leggings, and again of course netherite or any other material, you're going to want Protection 4, then you will want Unbreaking 3, as well as the Mending enchantment. Then you'll want Thorns 3 if you want that enchantment, and Swift Sneak 3. Now of course this is the new 1.19 enchantment, and it's definitely good, because basically without it, we'll just put these on. You can see when I'm sneaking or crawling like this, or crouching that is, you can see it's somewhat slow. But then if I put the Swift Sneak on there, which we'll do right now, just like this, and in fact you'll always find these as books or on a pair of diamond leggings found in the Deep Dark. Then when we put these on, you'll see that we actually go a lot quicker than we did before, almost at the speed of walking. So this is walking and this is Swift Sneak. In fact, Swift Sneak might actually be slightly quicker, it's hard to say, but they're definitely very similar. Anyway, that is the perfect pair of netherite leggings. The perfect pair of boots has two different varieties, and I'll show you both. So no matter what one you pick, you'll want protection 4, you will want feather falling 4, very important for boots, unbreaking 3, you will want depth strider 3, you will want frostwalker 2, or you will want depth strider. So basically I just put depth strider on here, but you want depth strider or the frostwalker. They're mutually exclusive, so you can have one on there or the other. Most players don't use frostwalker, probably one of the most unused enchantments there are actually. However, if you do want to have ice go beneath your feet when you go into the water, then frostwalker is the one for you. But depth strider makes it so that you can go and be very quick underwater, which is definitely important if you're working there. Now once you've picked which one of those enchantments you want, you will also want mending on there. And to finish it up, you will want thorns 3 and soul speed 3. And you'll again notice here it says too expensive. And actually the perfect pair of netherite boots has 7 enchantments on it, so you have to be incredibly lucky to get a good pair out of the enchantment table straight out. And if you don't, then you unfortunately cannot get the perfect pair. But the perfect pair would be protection 4, feather falling 4, unbreaking 3, depth strider 3, or frostwalker 2, then mending, thorns 3, and soul speed 3. Now what is the perfect enchantments for a mob head? That is a creeper head, a skeleton head, zombie head, or wither skeleton skull head. Well, there's only 2 enchantments you can put on this, and that is Curse of Binding and Curse of Vanishing. Now of course there's no point of Curse of Vanishing no matter what, unless maybe you're on an anarchy server. But with Curse of Binding, it's completely perfect, because if you get this item on a different player's head, let's say with a dispenser, they will have to die to get it off their head, so it's good for pranks. However, be incredibly careful with these, as if you put a Curse of Binding mob head on your head in hardcore mode, you can literally never get it off no matter what unless you use cheats, which is very difficult to do in hardcore mode. And so just be very aware of that, as of course this couldn't eventually break off. But either way, that is the perfect enchantments for a mob head. In fact, just the only enchantments you can even put on a mob head. Now what are the perfect enchantments for the wearable carved pumpkin that of course makes you have this weird vision? Well, I wish there was an enchantment that made the vision be clear when it's on your head, but there's not. There's just 2 enchantments for it. It's the exact same as the heads. It is the Curse of Binding and the Curse of Vanishing. Now I'd really never suggest putting Curse of Vanishing on literally anything, unless you're in an anarchy server, then it is quite useful. But what is awesome about the Curse of Binding, like I said on the other one, is it's perfect for pranks. So if I put this on my head, I just could not get it off no matter what. But anyway, that is what you put on the carved pumpkin. And a nice thing about the carved pumpkin, it's actually the only block in the entire game that you can enchant in survival, and sort of get that glowing enchantment effect on there when you're holding it, but also when it is on an armor stand or as an item on the ground. That is how to get perfect enchantments on every single type of armor. On to the next section, which is perfect enchantments on every single item. So that would be weapons and tools and other useful things. So like for instance all the pickaxes and things like that. The minor tools, things like the fishing rod, and also all of your weapons, short range and long range. So starting with the weapons, what is the perfect enchantments for the Trident? Well, if we put this in the anvil, what you'll want no matter what type of trident you have is Impaling 5, then you'll want Unbreaking 3, and you will also want Mending. Now you can pick between a Riptide Trident or a Loyalty and Channeling Trident, so of course if you want the Riptide one, simply add Riptide to it, or if you want to have the Channeling one, add Loyalty 3, this way when you throw it it'll come back to you, just like this. And then also add the channeling enchantment, and of course this is that during a thunderstorm you can summon lightning, and that is the perfect channeling trident. And of course adding Riptide alternatively instead of loyalty and channeling would give you the perfect Riptide trident. Now what are the perfect enchantments for the bow? Well, there's also 2 types of this you can make, but no matter which type you do, you want Unbreaking 3, you want Power 5, Flame, as well as Punch 2. Then you can pick between having Mending on here, which is what most players do, or you can do Infinity. Now Infinity will give you infinite arrows if you have at least one arrow in your inventory, but of course because you'd have to repair this a couple times by adding another bow to it, eventually you wouldn't have actually infinite arrows. And then with Mending here, of course you can repair this when you get experience. So it's up to you whichever one you want. Infinity can definitely be a good enchantment, but because it doesn't last forever, some players will go with Mending. And that is how you make the perfect Mending or Infinity bow. And now for the perfect crossbow. Now the perfect crossbow also has two variants, but no matter which one, you want Mending, you want Unbreaking 3, and you also want Quick Charge 3. After that, you can go with either Piercing 4, which allows one of the crossbow's arrows to go through up to 4 mobs at a time, or you can go with Multi-Shot, which makes the crossbow fire 3 arrows at a time, but just a word of warning, with Multi-Shot, it also takes away 3 durability per shot, although of course with Unbreaking that minimizes it. But anyway, that's how you make the perfect Multi-Shot or Piercing 4 crossbow. Now what are the perfect enchantments for the sword? The sword actually can have up to 7 enchantments, just like the boots, making them both some of the most difficult items to get perfect. Now basically there's 3 different variations of the sword. There's Smite 5, which makes you deal lots of extra damage to undead mobs. Then there is Bane of Arthropods 5, which makes you deal lots of extra damage to things like spiders and silverfish. And there is Sharpness 5, which makes you deal slightly extra damage to every single mob. We're just going to go with Smite 5, but a lot of players might choose Sharpness, although Bane of Arthropods is somewhat useless. And after you've done that, no matter what sword you pick, you want Unbreaking 3, you want Sweeping Edge 3, that'll make you be able to hit multiple mobs at a time, although I don't actually think Sweeping Edge 3 is in Bedrock, although it might be. You want Fire Aspect 2, then you want Knockback 2, that's perfect for creepers. Then you want to have Looting 3, and then you want to have Mending. Now of course you can see that's too expensive, but generally what you'd want to do again to get the perfect sword is put it in the enchantment table first. Hope you can get lucky with, let's say, an Unbreaking 3 and a Sweeping Edge 3, something like that. I've actually had times where I've put a sword in the enchantment table before and got 4 enchantments right away. Definitely depends on a lot of things. So the perfect sword would be Smite 5, or Sharpness 5, or Bane of Arthropods 5. Then with Unbreaking 3, Sweeping Edge 3, Fire Aspect 2, Knockback 2, Looting 3, and finishing it up with Mending. That will give you an incredibly overpowered item. Now on to the tools section. I'm going to start with the Fishing Rod. What are the perfect enchantments for that? Well, there are 2 enchantments that are only for the Fishing Rod, but we'll start with the basics of Unbreaking 3 and Mending. Mending on a Fishing Rod is actually incredibly important because you get experience from fishing, so that repairs the rod really quickly, and there's also not much durability on a Fishing Rod. The 2 specialized enchantments you'll want is Luck of the Sea 3, as well as Lure 3, and those will make you have more fish, and also have the chance of treasure loot be higher. So that's how you get the perfect Fishing Rod. Now how do you get the perfect pickaxe? Well, there's 2 variants of it. There's Silk Touch and Fortune, but no matter what you make, you want Efficiency 5, you want Unbreaking 3, and you definitely want Mending. And then you can pick between Silk Touch or Fortune 3, both amazing enchantments, and I would generally suggest having one of each, as they're both incredibly vital, and if there's any item that you're going to want Silk Touch and Fortune on both of, it's definitely the pickaxe. So I definitely suggest making 2 of those of the perfect type. How do you make the perfect axe in Minecraft? And there's actually 6 different variants of this one, so you're going to want to have Unbreaking 3 no matter which one you do. You will want Mending, and you will also want Efficiency 5. Now after you've done that, you can pick between Fortune or Silk Touch. We'll just do Fortune, let's say. And then you can pick between Bane of Arthropods 5, Sharpness 5, or Smite 5. Let's try Sharpness. And then we have the perfect axe, and of course because the axe is a tool and also a weapon, that's why we can put the Sharpness or the Smite 5 or the Bane of Arthropods 5 on there. So definitely a really useful thing to have, especially with the Sharpness, and it's sort of funny to see both the Fortune and the Sharpness enchantment on there, as we would think of those as mutually exclusive. So there is our perfect axe. Now how do you make the perfect shovel? Well, you're going to want to have Efficiency 5, you will want Unbreaking 3, and also Mending. Then you can pick between Fortune 3 or Silk Touch. So with Silk Touch, for instance, you could use this to pick up a bunch of grass blocks, or with Fortune 3, every single piece of gravel you mine could give you flint. we'll just pick fortune, why not, and that is how you make the perfect shovel. Now to make the perfect hoe in Minecraft, we're going to want to start with efficiency 5, then go on to unbreaking 3. After that we will have some mending on there, and you can pick between Silk Touch or Fortune 3. I would generally say Silk Touch is awesome because then you can, for instance, get a bunch of leaves, and also hoes have been made way more useful in recent updates, so you definitely want to have a perfect hoe on your tools inventory. But with Fortune, you can get a massive amount of saplings from most tree leaves, so that's also a great thing, and that's how you make the perfect hoe. To make the perfect shield in Minecraft, you just need 2 enchantments. You can have Unbreaking 3 on there, and then also Mending, and that shield will last you longer, and when you're fighting mobs it will heal for you, and that's how you make the perfect shield in Minecraft. Also, you can put banners on there if you want, so that can also make it, I guess, in a sense, more perfect. How do you make a perfect carrot on a stick in Minecraft? Well, for that you want to have Unbreaking 3 as well as Mending, and there you have the perfect carrot on a stick. How do you have the perfect warped fungus on a stick? Well, you're going to start off with Mending. Just to be a rebel, we could always start with Unbreaking, but we may as well do Mending on this one, and go on to Unbreaking 3, and that is our perfect warped fungus on a stick, as of course then it will last longer, and we can heal up its durability. How do you make the perfect pair of shears in Minecraft? Well, all you have to do is put that in the anvil right here, add on to that an Unbreaking 3 book, then finish up with a Mending book, and there we have the perfect pair of shears. And now last, but certainly not least, well, let's be honest, basically least, how do you get a perfect Flint and Steel? Put that in the anvil, and put on Unbreaking 3, then finish up with Mending, and you technically have a Flint and Steel that will certainly last you forever if you gain some experience while it's in your hand. And that is the perfect Flint and Steel. And that's how to get every single item in Minecraft, the armor and the tools, perfectly. Good luck getting perfect items, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. How do you have the perfect warped fungus on a stick? How do you have perfect warped fungus, perfect warped fungus on a stick, warped fungus on a stick, fungus, perfect stick.